or فيما يرويه عن ربه. Two ways that the Hadith al-Qudsi is mentioned. But here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ثلاثة أنا خصمهم يوم القيامة. I want you to reflect on this. The one who's going to judge you, and the one who created you, and the one who has the hellfire to punish the disobedient and the disbelievers, is saying, I am against you the day of judgment. ثلاثة أنا خصمهم يوم القيامة رجل أعطى بي ثم غدر. First one is a person who had given a trust, or rather a promise, or a contract, or whatever agreement where you swear, you use the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on it. Yani you say, Wallahi, I'm going to do this, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala testifies that this is the deal between me and you. أعطى بي ثم غدر, or gave someone, promised someone safety, as in war and such. Then he betrays the trust. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself will be face to face with him. He's not going to bring the person whom he betrayed, rather Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be the one. In another hadith, وَمَنْ كُنْتُ خَصْمُهُ خَصَمْتُ. And anyone I'm going to be against him, definitely he's a loser. So this shows what? I mean, basically, after you would know this, it's all dhulm. It's all acts of dhulm in this hadith that I'm going to mention. We'll mention one, we'll mention two more. But there are a lot of dhulm. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that these three, because they are big, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attracting your attention for these three, because commonly people use a lot and maybe they belittle that. They swear, and after that as if nothing happened. And we know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us in a hadith, ثلاث جدهن جد وهزلهن جد. Three things, whether you're joking or not, it's serious. الطلاق والرجعة والعتق. To divorce your wife, and just joking, she's divorced, whether you like it or not. Raj'a, you divorce her and you say, I'll take you back. I'm just joking. She's back, غصب عنك. Atiq, you free a slave, you say you're free, and then you change your mind, he's freed. So you don't joke with that. I know a lot of people joke with divorce, and they think they're cute, just want to scare his wife a little bit, and guess what? She's divorced. And he asks her back and she refuses. What's the ruling on that, Sheikh? Yeah, let me ask you, brother, what do you think? You ask her back and she refuses. What's the ruling on that? She's back وغصب عنها. انبسطت انت, If you bring her back, she's back. The divorce is in your hand. If she wants to divorce you, then she has other means to do that and to prove that. So, رَجُلٌ أَعْطَى بِي ثُمَّ غَدَرَ. That's the first one. You make a deal and you promise and you swear, and then you betray the trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala against you. The second one, وَرَجُلٌ بَاعَ حُرًّا فَأَكَلَ ثَمَنَهُ. And a person sold a free man and consumes his price. You probably wonder, how can you sell a free man, right? Well, how can you sell a free man? There are ways. Number one, you have a slave. You tell him, go, you're free. And you don't tell anybody that he's free. Or you deny it. Remember, jokingly, you're free, and then, no, I didn't tell you you're free. No, you're lying. Worse than that, you tell him you're free, you don't tell anyone, and then you go and sell him. You sold a free man because you freed him. Now people don't know, but he knows, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. That's ways of how to sell a free man. Also, they said before, a person reported that a person came to at the time of Ali radiallahu anh and sold himself. He said, I'm selling myself. So Ali radiallahu anh said, he will be a slave and he will be sold and his price will be in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if he volunteers to sell himself. And there is another way that they used to, if you owe me too much money and you don't have anything to pay, then you become my slave in return of the money. Now there are some ways, but the meaning here mainly is you have a slave and you free him and you don't tell anyone, and then you deny that, and then you sell him, you take his money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be your enemy. And the third one, وَرَجُلٌ اسْتَأْجَرَ أَجِيرًا فَاسْتَوْفَى مِنْهُ وَلَمْ يُعْطِهِ أَجْرًا. And a person hires someone and he got everything he contracted for, the job is done basically, and he didn't pay him. Now what do we have something here? A lot of people think that it's a hadith, أعطِ الأجير أجره قبل أن يجف عرقه. This is hadith ضعيف. It's not authentic from the Prophet ﷺ, but this hadith is more scary than give the person his money, the one you hire, before his sweat dries. Meaning, as soon as he finished the job, pay him. Why? Because everyone is looking forward to get paid. You look like you get paid on the end of the week or the end of the month, and that day you're just looking forward to it. You're working, and you're looking up for that day. Even if you're not in need for the money, you look up for it. Imagine if he is not paid at all. So when you pay the person immediately, as soon as he finishes, he feels the fruit of his work right away. صح يا شيخ? Everyone who is in business knows that after you finish the job, you sign the ticket, you get the money and you go. But if he tells you, I'll send you the check, how do you feel about it? It's horrible. Even if you trust him. It's not the same feeling. You just like to receive it. Imagine if you refuse to pay. And this can happen also in different ways, where like back home, you sponsor someone to come from overseas and he works or she works, and then because you have the control, you're under my supervision and your visa is in my hand, I can kick you out. I delay the payment, I give you partial payment, I don't give you any payment, you cannot go home because you don't have the money, and if you're staying, you're working like a slave. So the scholars compared this one with the one who sells a free man as a slave, because they say you held that person and he fulfilled the job just like a slave working for you, and instead of giving him the money, you devoured the money. You took the money and you ate it. So that will make you an enemy to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the day of judgment. You will have to deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, it's not like, I'm sorry, I was just joking. There's no such a thing as that. You put yourself in that position, it's very dangerous. So take care of your contracts and promises. Make sure not to sell a slave. Or don't volunteer yourself. Here at MIC, we'll take you, brother. We'll sell you right away. No hesitation. You tell us I'm your slave, and say, come on, man, who wants to buy it? But who wants to buy anyone from the brothers over here? Raise your hand. Would you want to buy one? No, see, he doesn't. You'll pay me not to give it to you, right? We'll say, no, you're free, brother. And the third one, which we all deal with, is when you hire someone. When you hire someone, it's always good to take care of the business. As soon as you take your right, you give the other person his rights, you be comfortable and the other comfortable, because it's like a debt, a loan on you, and you keeping it with you, there's no point in it. This is rewarding in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if you don't, it is also scary to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala So if you owe someone, Sheikh Hussein, go pay him. Because you don't want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be against you. And be good. And inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.